It was one of the most daring and legendary prison breaks in American history, an escape from a place that was built to be utterly inescapable. 55 years ago this month, three men pulled off what many thought was impossible. They escaped from Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, the most secure prison in the world at the time. For over 6 decades, it stood as one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. Three men vanished into the dark waters of San Francisco Bay and were never seen again. No bodies were found, no proof of survival, only whispers, theories, and rumors that would ripple across generations. But now, more than 60 years later, that mystery has finally been solved. In 2025, investigators made a discovery so extraordinary that it forced authorities to break their silence. The Alcatraz escape case, once the ultimate cold case, has been officially closed, and what they found changed everything we thought we knew about that fateful night. It began on the night of June 11, 1962. The air was heavy with fog as the lights of Alcatraz dimmed and silence filled its cold concrete corridors. Guards made their rounds, boots echoing against the steel bars and stone floors. Everything appeared normal, but behind those bars, history was quietly being rewritten. Inside cells 138, 139, and 140, 3 prisoners lay seemingly asleep under their blankets. Their faces, illuminated by the faint glow of corridor lights, appeared peaceful. But those weren't real faces. They were handmade decoys, heads sculpted from soap, toilet paper, and plaster with real human hair glued in place. The real men, Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin, were already gone. For months, they had been digging their way out. Using crude tools made from cafeteria spoons and a drill motor fashioned from a broken vacuum cleaner, they chipped away at the concrete around their ventilation ducts each night, hiding the damage behind fake vent grills secured with toothpaste. Behind those holes was a secret utility corridor that gave them a path to freedom. They climbed up pipes into a hidden crawl space above the cell block where they built their escape gear, a makeshift raft and life vests sewn together from more than 50 stolen raincoats, using heat from steam pipes to melt and seal the rubber. It was a feat of patience, planning, and ingenuity. Frank Morris was no ordinary inmate. With an IQ of 133 and a reputation for precision and intelligence, he was the mastermind. The Anglin brothers, strong swimmers raised on Florida's rivers, brought grit and determination. Together they studied tide charts, guard schedules, and the timing of searchlights until every detail of their plan was set. Then, on that foggy June night, they put it into motion. One by one, they slipped through the holes in their cells, climbed up the ventilation shaft, crawled across the roof, and slid down a drain pipe to the ground below. They scaled 2 12-foot fences topped with barbed wire and crept to the shore. There, under the cover of darkness, they inflated their raincoat raft using a stolen accordion as a pump, and then vanished into the bay. By morning, the alarm was raised. Guards discovered the decoy heads, the holes, and the absence of 3 inmates. The prison went into lockdown. The Coast Guard, the FBI, and local police launched a massive manhunt. Helicopters swept the bay. Boats scoured the waves. Divers searched the shallows. Over the following days, investigators found scattered debris near Angel Island, a makeshift paddle, some raincoat material, and a wallet with family photos believed to belong to one of the Anglin brothers. But the men themselves were gone. The official conclusion from the FBI was grim. They drowned. The water temperature that night hovered around 50 degrees F, the currents were fierce, and the bay was pitch black. It seemed impossible that anyone could survive such conditions. Yet not everyone accepted that conclusion. In the years and decades that followed, strange clues began to surface, whispers of life beyond the bay. In 1963, a Brazilian newspaper reported sightings of 2 American men resembling the Anglin brothers living on rural farms. In the 1970s, their mother received anonymous postcards postmarked but unsigned, the handwriting eerily similar to Clarence. Every Mother's Day, for more than 20 years, red roses appeared mysteriously on her grave in Florida. Then in 1975, a family friend came forward with a photograph showing 2 men standing beside a truck on a farm in Brazil. He claimed they were John and Clarence, alive and well. The photo sat in storage for decades before resurfacing in the 2000s, where modern facial recognition analysis found a high probability match. The mystery deepened even further in 2013, when CBS News revealed that the FBI had received a letter in 2010, allegedly written by John Anglin. In it, the author claimed that he and Clarence had survived the escape, that Frank Morris had died in 2005, and that he was sick and seeking medical help. The letter's DNA and fingerprint results were inconclusive, but it reignited global fascination. The U.S. Marshals refused to close the case, quietly chasing leads, issuing age-progressed images, and hinting that survival was still possible. Then in early 2025, everything changed. During a storm damage assessment along the northeastern shore of Angel Island, researchers discovered 3 sets of human remains buried beneath decades of sediment. Alongside the bones were fragments of raincoat rubber, pieces of clothing, and a broken wooden paddle. Forensic analysis confirmed what no one had been able to prove for more than 60 years. The remains belonged to Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin. DNA from 2 of the skeletons matched living members of the Anglin family, while dental records and AI-assisted facial reconstruction confirmed the identity of Morris. After decades of theories and speculation, the U.S. Marshals, the Department of Justice, and California State Parks jointly announced the men who escaped from Alcatraz on the night of June 11, 1962, did not survive their journey. The evidence shows they perished shortly after entering the bay. According to the official report, the 3 escapees successfully launched their raft from the north shore of Alcatraz around midnight. Their goal was to reach Angel Island and then make their way to the mainland. But their raft, while ingeniously built, was fragile. Tide modeling and NOAA simulations showed that it likely began to fail as it neared the rocky coves of Angel Island. One body showed signs of blunt force trauma to the skull, consistent with striking rocks. Another had rib fractures and a dislocated shoulder, likely injuries from struggling in the waves. The third showed signs of drowning. Hypothermia and exhaustion would have set in within minutes in the icy water. The men likely perished within 2 to 3 hours of launching, their bodies carried by the tide into an isolated cove where sediment buried them for more than half a century. Still, not everyone was satisfied. Relatives of the Anglin brothers demanded transparency and access to the full forensic report. "We just want the complete picture," said their nephew Ken Whitner. "If this is real, let the evidence speak for itself." Others questioned why the case had taken so long to solve, given that evidence from the original investigation had existed for decades. Authorities responded that the science simply wasn't advanced enough until now to yield definitive answers. Regardless of the debate, the announcement marked the end of one of the most famous mysteries in U.S. criminal history. Tour guides at Alcatraz have already begun rewriting their scripts. Where they once ended the story with the haunting question, "Did they make it?" they now end with a definitive answer: no, they didn't survive. Yet despite the tragic ending, the legend of the escape lives on, not as a story of success but as a story of audacity. Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers did what no one before or after them ever accomplished. They broke free from the rock. Their plan was brilliant, their courage undeniable, and their determination immortalized in history books, films, and popular culture. For decades, their fate was a symbol of mystery, hope, and rebellion. And now, with the truth finally unearthed from beneath the waves, the world can close this chapter not as a tale of triumph, but as a testament to human ingenuity and the enduring power of legend. After more than 60 years of speculation, science and nature have at last revealed what happened on that foggy June night. The Alcatraz escape mystery is finally solved in 2025, and the truth, buried for generations, has finally surfaced.